Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Excuse me. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Glories to the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. And all glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We want to thank you for coming early to this program and hearing about the early years of Srila Prabhupada in his diaries, which reveal his complete commitment to the service of his spiritual master. This is the principle of Guru Tattva. Guru Tattva is the foundation of one's devotional service, and the commitment of the disciple to the bona fide spiritual master is the essence of spiritual understanding. Just like we're reading Vijay Pandit in, I know you're up early there in Italy. Is it early or later?
Right now, you mean?
Yeah.
Right now it's 4 p.m.
Okay, so it's the afternoon, so it's okay for you. We're realizing that if you have a direct relationship with a bona fide spiritual master, then the understanding of spiritual life becomes a great opportunity because of his connection to Krishna. The bona fide spiritual master is a transparent via media for Krishna. This means that through his service and surrender to his spiritual master, he becomes a conduit for the devotee to understand who he is and his purpose in life and his destination at the time of death. Because we're in a cycle of samsara, all of us, birth, death, disease, and old age. It's not just philosophy, it's reality. When you first hear about these principles, you think, oh, this is a very interesting philosophy. But it's beyond philosophy, it's reality. When you understand, when you look at yourself in the mirror, especially when you're past 70 years of age, you start to see a different person. You know, you're the same person in terms of your spiritual essence, but the body is certainly not the same. It's become a victim of time, eternal time. And this is a factor in everyone's life. And we're trying to rise above this concept of I, me, and mine in the material body. I, me, mine, my wife, my children, my house, my car, my bank balance, like this mundane, indoctrination. It's a very difficult thing to overcome when you're indoctrinated. This is what you become as completely bewildered. Krishna explains that, as all of you know, in the Gita. We become bewildered by material desires, by the material world, by the material circumstances. And Prabhupada demonstrated that he was never bewildered. He was always a transcendental person. Very fascinating opportunity for all of us to get the association of a pure devotee and to be able to follow in his footsteps. And we know that Prabhupada arrived in New York in 1965 and got off the boat in the New York Harbor it's September 19th, just a few days prior to this anniversary date. He got off the boat and made his way to Butler, Pennsylvania, to stay at the house of the Agarwals. He lasted there 3 weeks, and then he became compelled to go back to New York City and begin his journey into the Sankirtan mission by building a community of devotees through his preaching work. And we've been going through these step-by-step experiences that he was going through his diaries, which are very authentic. They give us direct insight. And if you're a businessman or a leader or a professional here at our group, then you'll understand about diary preparation every day. You write down what you do, and then you do it. It's called the things to do list. And that was what Prabhupada was very expert at, doing things, not talking. This is one thing we're learning here in our group, that we have so many things to do. It's very difficult to get them done. We're just working at them. Just so you know, we do meet every Thursday evening. We've been meeting for months and months with a small group of our membership, and we call it the PDA media group, media team. And we do discuss different aspects of our program and what we're trying to do to increase the numbers of participants in our, first of all, our readings and discussions. And recently we finished the Vyas Puja book for 2023. It's 187 pages long. And it's a very, we want to thank everybody that did provide a writing an offering to Prabhupada in the book. And we have a lot of very educational articles at the beginning of the book. Yes, very educational on Guru Tattva, which is the fundamental principle of Vaishnava practice. Have a bona fide spiritual master and understand. And it's very important for all of us to study the whole history of ISKCON as well. It's not just something you should avoid in your cultivation of Krishna consciousness. You should know the facts about what has gone on since actually you can go back right to Prabhupada's participation in the Gaudiya Math. That also gives a very great insight into this whole adventure in spiritual life that we're all on. So please, continue to study about Prabhupada's life, study about the circumstances of this mission, how it's evolved, and what are the pitfalls of it, and the problems and difficulties. And in this way, you'll become enlightened, not just stuck in a fog of confusion, which a lot of people have experienced. So let's go ahead and we'll continue our reading of the diaries, excerpt from an address to an Indian society in Columbus, Ohio on May 11th, 1969. Prabhupada. So this Sankirtan movement was inaugurated in Bengal, in India, and in Navadvip. So in this sense, the Bengalis are very fortunate that in their country, this movement was inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya, and he predicted that Those who are Bengalis here present, they will understand Prithviti Naragradi Gram Sarvatra Pranchara Hobe Mora Nam. He predicted that as many villages and towns there are all over the world, everywhere, this Sankirtan movement will be preached. That is his future prediction. So by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, this movement is already introduced in the Western countries, beginning from New York. Our first movement, the Sankirtan movement, was introduced in New York. I came in New York first, and then I began to chant this Hare Krishna mantra in Tompkinson Park. Is that Tompkinson Park or Square? Devotee Tompkins Square. Prabhupada, Thompson Square. So I was chanting there for 3 hours with a little small mardanga, and these boys, American boys, they assembled and gradually they joined. And it is increasing. First of all, it was started in New York in a storefront, 26 2nd Avenue. Then we started our branch in San Francisco, Los Angeles, in Santa Fe, in Buffalo. Then here we have now 20 branches, including one in London and one in Hamburg. And in London, the boys, they are all American boys and girls. They are preaching. They are not sannyasi, neither are they Vedantists, neither are they are Hindus, neither they are Indian, but they have taken this movement very seriously. Here, one lady from London, she has come. She was very much praising about their movement. And in London Times, there was an article. They said that Krishna chanting startles London. So we have got many followers now. All my disciples till now, at least in this country, they are all American and Europeans. And they are chanting, dancing. Excuse me, sorry. Krishna. They were chanting and dancing. They're issuing paper back to Godhead. Now we have published so many books. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We'll read one quick, another excerpt from a letter to Hanuman Prasad Poder, dated February 5th, 1970. I feel very much obliged to Gopal and his wife Sally Agarwal, that's who he's referring to, in Butler, for their nice treatment and reception. I was with them for 3 weeks in Butler near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then I came to New York. I was getting some money by selling my Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, I was maintaining myself in New York. After some time, I rented one apartment at number 171st Street West, but after a few months, all my things, typewriter, tape recorder, books were stolen. Then for some time, one of my students gave me shelter at the Bowery Street loft. I then rented one storefront and an apartment on 26 2nd Avenue for $200 per month, but without any source of income. I started my classes, and sometimes on Sundays I used to chant Hare Krishna mantra in Tompkins Square Park from 3 to 5 p.m. During this time, all the young boys and girls used to gather around me. Sometimes poet Ginsberg would come to see me, and sometimes a reporter from the New York Times came to see me. In this way, the Hare Krishna mantra chanting became very popular on the Lower East Side. In this way, the younger generation became attracted, and gradually many branches were opened, one after another. After New York, the next branch was opened in San Francisco, then in Montreal, then in Boston and Los Angeles. Eventually it came to Toronto and then Hamilton. We now have the following centers in the States, Canada, Europe, Japan, and Australia. So more insight here, very quick summary of his wonderful achievements as he started the mission back in the 60s. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll have the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then the discussion and reading with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu on the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, the original unedited version. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vinkat Bhatta, are you there in Toronto? If you could break.
Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Namaskar
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I do offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya, Narayanam namaskritya, Naram cheva narottamam, Naram cheva narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Mudirayet, Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Om Ajnana-timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Bhagavad-gītā As It Is. This class is being conducted from the original non-adulterated 1972 Macmillan edition, the original edition, and all synonyms, translation, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Today we'll be reading from chapter 9, text number 26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Patram, a leaf; pushpam, a flower; phalam, a fruit; toyam, water; yah, whoever; me, unto me; bhaktya, with devotion; prayachati, offers; tat, that; aham, I; bhakti uparitam, offered in devotion; ashnami, accept; prayata atmanaha, of one in pure consciousness. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Purport. Here, Lord Krishna, having established that he is the only enjoyer, the primeval Lord, and the real object of all sacrificial offerings, reveals what type of sacrifices he desires to be offered. If one wishes to engage in devotional service to the Supreme in order to be purified and to reach the goal of life, the transcendental loving service of God, then he should find out what the Lord desires of him. One who loves Krishna will give him whatever he wants, and he avoids offering anything which is undesirable or unasked for. Thus, meat, fish, and eggs should not be offered to Krishna. If he desired such things as offerings, he would have said so. Instead, he clearly requests that a leaf, fruit, flowers, and water be given to him, and he says of this offering, I will accept it. Therefore, we should understand that he will not accept meat, fish, and eggs. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk, and water are the proper foods for human beings and are prescribed by Lord Krishna himself. Whatever else we eat cannot be offered to him, since he will not accept it. Thus, we cannot be acting on a level of loving devotion if we offer such foods. In the 3rd chapter, verse 13, Sri Krishna explains that only the remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and release from the clutches of the material entanglement. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are said to be eating only sin. In other words, their every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. But preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before the deity, before the picture or deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such an humble offering, enable one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, and to create fine brain tissues which will lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with an attitude of love. Krishna has no need of food, since he already possesses everything that be. Yet, he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation, in serving, and in offering is to act with love for Krishna. The impersonist philosophers who wish to maintain that the absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse of Bhagavad-gītā. To them, it is either a metaphor or proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of the Gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, has senses. And it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. Lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all opulences. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotee's words of love in offering foodstuffs is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized. Because of his absolute position, his hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he describes himself without interpretation can understand that the supreme absolute truth can eat food and enjoy it. So we are dealing with some very important verse of Bhagavad-gītā. Srila Prabhupada used to often quote this verse. Prabhupada in one lecture explained that in the Mahabharata, incidentally, somebody asked me, why do you read the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam in the beginning of the Bhagavad-gītā class? Well, the Bhagavad-gītā is part of the Mahabharata. And in the beginning of the Mahabharata, that same verse is also given, Narayanam Namaskritya. It's just a form of respectful obeisances to Vyasadeva, Lord Narayana, Naranarayana Rishi, and Vyasadeva, and the goddess of learning, Saraswati. In the Mahabharata, Prabhupada explained, there's the story that Vidura was very surprised one time when Krishna showed up at his place. And Vidura was so startled that he took a banana, opened the banana, and gave Krishna the peel. And Krishna started to eat the peel of the banana. And Prabhupada said, why would Krishna do that? Because of the love, the unalloyed love of God that Vidura had exhibited. But yet, when Duryodhana had cooked a very elaborate feast for Lord Krishna, Krishna did not accept it. So the point is in this verse that one should offer to Lord Krishna with love and devotion. Simple ingredient, love and devotion. There is another lecture where Srila Prabhupada explains how in India, in recent years, in the last 200 years, there was a group that formed called Arya Samaj. What Arya Samaj was a group of people, they were criticizing the worship of the deity and the offering of foodstuff to the deity. And Prabhupada's argument, well, why can't God eat? Because we see in the Brahma Samhita, we recite that verse, Anganyasya sakalendriya vrittimanti, that Krishna is so perfect that any one of his senses can perform just like the others. Sakala indriya vrittimanti. This is a very important point, because sometimes the atheistic class of men will put forth the argument, how can God eat like that? Well, God can do whatever he wants. He's independent. He's Svarat. In the first verse of the first canto of the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the characteristics of the Absolute Truth is described as Svarat, independent. God, Krishna, does not depend upon us. We depend upon him. And the whole principle of offering foodstuff to Krishna, first of all, Krishna owns everything. He doesn't need our foodstuff. It already belongs to him. Everything belongs to him. We see in the Ishabhasya Upanishad, Ishavasyam idagum sarvam, that everything belongs to the Isha. In Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 5, text 29, Krishna described Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Bhoktaram Yajñatapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that I am the recipient of all your sacrifices, all your offerings, all your work. And I am the owner of all the planets, of everything. So it is not that one should be arrogant thinking, oh, I will offer Krishna a big feast. Oh, that is very nice. But Krishna doesn't look like that. He looks at the devotion, the sincere effort of the devotee to please him. Just like yesterday, late last night, I got a WhatsApp message. Yesterday, we were celebrating Radhastami. And what happened is in one temple in India, they were showing Radharani's feet. So I had a few devotees contact me saying, what is this? Why they are showing Radharani's feet? Because there was a letter from Srila Prabhupada in the mid-1973, a letter to Dhruvananda, where Srila Prabhupada explains that under no circumstances should Radharani feet ever be shown. But some people might think they know better. I don't know what they're thinking. In other words, Prabhupada gives a very clear instruction. It's up to us to follow it, to develop our affection and our love for Krishna and Radha. It is not a very complicated thing. The issue becomes complicated when somebody engages in mental speculation. I've often told this story. When I first was initiated in 1969, one devotee in Montreal explained that the principle of no gambling also includes no mental speculation. He says the way we function is we accept everything coming from the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. And if we act with that consciousness, we're always protected, we're always safe. Problems come in when people speculate. Just like the example I just gave, we don't mean that as a criticism. We realize that many devotees are trying to please Srimati Radharani on her birthday, very auspicious day, very beneficial day for Vaishnavas, for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But one should not manufacture his own way or concoct or invent new ways of worshiping the deity. Prabhupada did not want that. In the same letter, Srila Prabhupada warned that the greatest danger to our movement will come when we manufacture new ways of worshiping the deity. Prabhupada has given us all information, all knowledge. Simply, we have to accept this point. It is not a very complicated thing. It is actually a very easy thing to understand. But the problem is, due to our conditioning, especially Westerners, we tend to manufacture and change things. In Vrindavan in 1977, Srila Prabhupada requested a devotee to go to the city of Mathura, because Mathura is a bigger city than Vrindavan. There are more commercial facilities, more medical facilities. So he told this devotee, go purchase this medicine at this pharmacy. It should cost this price. It was a medicine for eye cleaning. So the devotee went there, went to the wrong pharmacy, paid the wrong price, and got the wrong medicine. When he came back, he showed that to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, this is the problem with you Westerners, always trying to change. That is the disease. That is the disease. So this is a very important point. Prabhupada has given all instructions. It is not that there is not sufficient instruction. We have to elevate our consciousness and our desire to please the Acharya according to the instruction of the Acharya, not according to our own mental speculation, just like what we saw yesterday. Now somebody may be thinking, well, I'm trying to please Radharani. I'm trying to show her lotus feet to anybody. But did somebody check with Prabhupada's teachings whether that should be done? It's not very difficult to check. It takes about 60 seconds to check. Just like in these readings and discussions, many times when we read from a specific lecture or a specific book, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu will check on the internet and he will present the text so we can see. There is another example. Srila Prabhupada in 1969 in Los Angeles came into the kitchen and he requested the devotees to cook some halva. So the devotees cooked the halva. Prabhupada came back. He took a spoon, a cooking spoon, took some of the halva when it was completed. It had not yet been offered, and he tasted it. And devotees tried to tell Prabhupada, oh, Prabhupada, that's not offered. It's not prasadam yet. And Prabhupada laughed. He says, yes, I know, but Krishna likes this halva. Now, this is the difference between the Nitya Siddha Mahabhagavat, who is in direct contact with Krishna, and the neophyte. Of course, nobody should try to imitate that or think that they can do like that, but this is the difference, a very important difference. This is a very important point. Another time, Srila Prabhupada was on a train because when we went to India early on, 1970, 71, when devotees went there, there were not many facilities. There was no big temple, no big guest house. We lived in tents or in different dharmshalas, like in Vrindavan. We used to live in the Fogol ashram, some local dharmshala. So when Prabhupada one time was going to go on a train between Delhi and Calcutta, the devotees forgot to cook for Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, because in India, when you come to a train station, they'll have these vendors. They'll cook some puris and aloo, little potato. They put it in a little cup. It is not like a big meal, but it is simple. It is very fresh. So Prabhupada took a couple of rupees out of his shirt and he bought some puris and some potato. And then he made some obeisances and thought to eat it. So devotees said, oh, Prabhupada, that's not prasadam, it's not offered. And Prabhupada told the devotee, do you think I'm such a fool that I will have to start because you have forgotten to cook? Don't you think you should cook to go on such a long trip? There are so many stories like that, prasadam stories. The point is that devotion to Krishna means we have to accept the instruction and orders of the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada was very, very careful to gradually introduce the system of deity worship in his society, especially kirtan, artik, and offering of bhoga, so that it becomes prasadam. Now, a person cannot invent his own way of saying, oh, such and such temple does it this way, such and such sampradaya does it that way. Oh, Prabhupada said you should summarize the Ari Bhakti Vilas, and in that book it says this. Anybody who is reasonably familiar with Srila Prabhupada's instructions on the matter of offering bhoga knows. As far back as 1968, he wrote letters that he offered by saying obeisances to the spiritual master 3 times. You offer obeisances to Lord Chaitanya 3 times. You offer obeisance to Lord Krishna, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, 3 times. And then you chant your Gayatri, first line, 10 times. This was the system that Prabhupada introduced. But some over-intelligent devotee concocted that this is not according to the Shastra. Well, it may be not according to them, but because it's according to the pure devotee, we accept the instruction. It is not very difficult to follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction. It only becomes complicated when somebody manufactures things. At one point in Los Angeles, they had an infestation of vermin and cockroaches. So the devotees went to Srila Prabhupada and they told him, should we kill them? Prabhupada said, no, you should be killed for keeping Radharani's kitchen so dirty that they come here. You should clean it. So the point is, Prabhupada was on a different level. A very, very, not that Prabhupada became advanced. He always was advanced from birth. He was a Nitya Siddha Maha Bhagavata. What is that? That is an eternally liberated soul who came from Goloka Vrindavan to teach us, fallen souls of the Kali Yuga, how to practice devotional service. And the first and foremost thing is simple love and devotion. Prabhupada one time complained how in India there are so many big pundits, big Sanskrit scholars. He said, but they're loitering in the street. No engagement, no occupation. We're not trying to make big Sanskrit scholars. What we're trying to do is create devotees who will develop that love and devotion. This is a very important point. We noticed in India how sometimes some life members coming from certain communities would not accept the prasadam, the bhoga that had been offered to our deities, because they consider themselves big Brahmins and that we were coming from Lecha and Yavana families. Therefore, whatever was offered was not proper according to them. But Srila Prabhupada accepted the offerings that was made because Prabhupada knew it was done according to his instruction, according to simple love and devotion. And many times Prabhupada would correct devotees. Whenever there was a discrepancy, he would correct devotees. Just like in that one letter that I quoted earlier, this one devotee asked Prabhupada whether Lord Jagannath had a flute, and then whether or not the big Radha Krishna deity should be bathed with water every day. And Prabhupada asked him, why do you ask so many nonsense questions? What is all this concoction? And Prabhupada said, the biggest danger to our movement will come when we manufacture new ways of worshiping the deity. And we see this now. It has only been 46 years since the unmanifested presence of Srila Prabhupada. And as I already pointed out, we see this problem with different introductions not sanctioned by Prabhupada. We see that in some temples, people are inventing new mantras that nobody would dare to chant in Prabhupada's presence. that nobody would dare to chant at Mayapur in a festival. But now it's become commonplace, along with some gypsy dancing. So some people will say, well, who are you to criticize? Why are you criticizing? We're not criticizing. We're fact-finding to ascertain the proper way that Srila Prabhupada wanted to do the kirtan, to do the offerings. We've often told the story of Vishwakarma Prabhu and myself and many other devotees have seen with our own eyes during kirtan, Srila Prabhupada sending his personal secretary or his personal servant and sometimes stopping the kirtan for various, sometimes it was because they would chant Haribol for 20 minutes or they would concoct some songs and Prabhupada would say, now stop, just chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda and Hare Krishna mantra. Recently, somebody sent me a clip of a devotee chanting a kirtan, and I'm listening. Now, I've studied a little Sanskrit in India. I'm not a Sanskrit scholar by any means, but I can chant it a little bit. I can distinguish. And this devotee was not chanting Rama, Ramo. Who is Ramo? In other words, Prabhupada gave us the Mahamantra. You can do this exercise. You can go on this website called causelessmercy.com. You go in the bottom of the page and you look at different MP3s, 179 or 159 MP3s of Prabhupada's songs. You can look at the original recordings from 1966, how Srila Prabhupada introduced the Mahamantra. It is so sublime. It is so easy. Because I've had conversation with devotees, and devotees say, well, Prabhupada said one time, there's no hard and fast rules in chanting. You can chant any tune. Yes, that's true. Prabhupada was trying to encourage us, the brain-dead mlechas and yavanas, to chant Hare Krishna. But should we not try to find out how the pure devotee wants us to chant? How the pure devotee is showing by example how to chant? We have to use our brain. We can't manufacture new ideas. This is like that with a lot of issues. A lot of issues. But at this point, if we want to eat prasadam, it has to be offered according to the instruction of the pure devotee. We can't make up our own way of doing things. But this is a very important point, because some people will argue, oh, Prabhupada said in 1976 that you should make a summary of the Hari Bhakti Vilas, and in the Hari Bhakti Vilas it said this, it says that. Yes, it says a lot of things in Hari Bhakti Vilas, but how did Srila Prabhupada, how did His Divine Grace introduce the offering of Bhoga and the Artik? In what sequence? How did Prabhupada do the Artik? How did Prabhupada explain what is the method of offering? That first you offer it to the spiritual master, who offers it to his spiritual master, and on to his grand spiritual master, all the way to Lord Chaitanya and all the way to Krishna. Not that you can offer it directly to Krishna. Prabhupada said, Krishna does not accept it that way. Now somebody may say, well, in some other sampradaya, or in some other neomat, or some other group, they do it some different. That may be. We're not criticizing anybody or their attempted devotion, or many of different groups or different sampradayas have different ways of worshiping Krishna according to their acharyas. That is fine. We are concerned how Srila Prabhupada wanted us to follow. That is what we should be concerned. And if we have not developed that understanding, we should start to develop it now and correct the deficiencies. This is a very important point. Just like in India, when we first went to India, We were not accustomed to the heat during the day in places like Calcutta, which was very humid. It was very hot. So devotees asked Prabhupada if they could take some rest in the afternoon. Prabhupada said, yes, no more than an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most. And Prabhupada gave instruction how you should take your bath. For example, one time at the Calcutta ISKCON temple, devotees would go and they would take prasadam and then they would go bathe in the pond in the front. And one time Prabhupada was in his veranda and he saw that. So he called the devotees. And he asked devotees, why are you bathing after taking the prasadam? You should bathe before taking the prasadam because this will adversely affect your digestion. Don't do that. Very important point. But devotees, we didn't know how to behave. Prabhupada, sometimes people ask, well, why so much emphasis on the 4 regulative principles? To elevate us from the animal condition to the mode of goodness condition. But if somebody persists either through ignorance or lack of knowledge or obstinacy to follow things the wrong way or remain a sahaja, like in the case of people who invent these new mantras with this gypsy dancing, well, this is not the way to please the Acharya. When Prabhupada came to New York, he showed what is called the Swami step. He had a specific way of how he wanted devotees to dance. Not like gypsies, not like madmen. Of course, Prabhupada tolerated a lot of things because he wanted to get devotees to get a taste for chanting Hare Krishna, even though it was not always according to the proper standard. He understood that. But the point, if we want to please Srila Prabhupada, if we want to please the pure devotee, we have to hear from the pure devotee. So this method of dancing, with devotees would put the left foot on front of the right foot, then the right foot in front of the left foot, put the arms up in the air and sway very gently and chant very nicely. That was the standard. I mean, there's a few songs that Prabhupada introduced, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Jai Jagannath. There's another one, Jai Sita Ram, Raghupati Ram, Raghava Ram. So a few of these very nice songs. Or there's another one from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna, 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 hey. Then Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam, like that. These were authorized songs. But what we have now is a full-fledged sahaja. I've been wanting to find out where are these things from. I can't find out anywhere. We know it's not in Prabhupada's book, some of these mantras. We know it's not in Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavat or in the Bhagavatam. So where did they get this from? From some local Vrindavan Rasika expert or some Babaji, or where? And this proliferates like a virus. It's from Vrindavan to Russia to Varanasi to Bombay. Then all of a sudden, this kind of song, of concocted song, is being introduced as the new way to do kirtan. No, this is not what Srila Prabhupada is given. When Srila Prabhupada says that you can chant any tune, yes, but we have to find out from a pure devotee what is the tune that will please Srila Prabhupada. Are we more interested in musical entertainment or pleasing the pure devotee? There was one letter where Prabhupada explained one time that his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, sometime would have kirtan with no mridangas, no kartals, no harmonium, just clapping the hand, because the point of the kirtan is to please the deities. It is not a show. It is not a musical exhibition. The whole point of the kirtan is to please Radha Krishna. by following the instruction of the pure devotee. That is the way of kirtan should be done. In 1976 at Mayapur, one sannyasi introduced the idea of bringing different kirtan parties from different part of Bengal. For those of you who have been to India, they know that the Bengalis are very expert in doing kirtan with mridangas, kartals. They're just very proficient. This is a blessing they have upon them by Lord Chaitanya to be born in that sacred, auspicious land. So, but these people were like having this like a competition. And Prabhupada stopped them. He said, no, the kirtan is meant to please the deities, not a competition. So this is a very important point. This verse here, Krishna is saying, Tadaham bhakti uparitam. What is that bhakti? Devotion. So we have to be very careful to follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction to increase that devotional attitude, that devotional sentiment. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Hare Krishna. Absolutely pure nectar from the bona fide disciple of the bona fide spiritual master. And really a gift to all of us to get insights into Krishna consciousness from Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, who has a tremendous power of recollection and is able to reproduce these pastimes of our spiritual master for those of us who did not get that much personal association with Srila Prabhupada. But just to hear these pastimes, everyone, and to be able to embrace the understanding that is conveyed here today in this discussion and reading is a great blessing for all of us and for future generations. As Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu so articulately explained this changing of the process of Krishna consciousness by people who are mental speculators. It was very revealing. Prabhu, thank you so much, because to hear him speak today is like reminding us of the real essence of this mission. And to hear it described in such detail is such a blessing, because very few people know this. I mean, some of you you're new to this mission, and you know, Yaśoda, when you were speaking, it was taking me back in time. I felt I was in Mayapur when you were talking about the kirtans. I remember being on the balcony when the order went out, stop the kirtan. I was sitting up on the second floor in that one building. And I remember that, and it was quite startling, actually. But Prabhupada was very, very strict with all of us. Why? Because he was trying to teach us this process as quickly as possible while he still had enough time. And your explanations today, Prabhu's, please, if you can go back and listen to this class again in the future, this week, just listen carefully, because you're getting an opportunity to understand how to practice Krishna consciousness the way Prabhupada wanted us to. And Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, that was I know he'll be embarrassed that I'm saying this, but I can't help myself. I thought it was just fabulous. And further in the talk today, we talked about prasadam, which is part of our system of bhakti yoga. It's a very important part. And we'll get Jonas Priya later to speak about it. But the fact of the matter is that everybody loves to eat. That's just the way human society operates. But they're eating sin. That's the problem. And especially in the modern society that we live in, people are less inclined to even cook. They just order, skip the dishes, which has become very popular nowadays. And they eat the fast foods. They've popularized the eating of hamburger as a mainstay in the diet. Even the former president of the United States would take his entourage to McDonald's and have a hamburger. Complete insanity. Because when you eat this food, it destroys all the good qualities of a person. So that in the Kali Yuga, Kalo Sudra Sambhava, everyone is born lower than Sudra, but even lower than Sudra, the Malecha, the people that eat anything, the dog eaters. This is something that people don't, how can I say, really comprehend, because it's so commonplace in this modern world, this fast food industry, where they kill billions. They stopped putting up the sign, Vinkat Bhatta. They used to, you're from Canada here, but they used to have, it started with millions and millions sold, and then it changed to,
in my house, everything we make.
They changed it from millions to billions sold. Now it's got to the point of trillions, so they just took it off the sign. This is the destruction of modern man, this tendency to eat sin. Because prasadam is antiseptic and prophylactic. And it is our greatest weapon in preaching, everyone, to give prasadam to others, food offered to Krishna, sanctified. It purifies us of the sinful activities that we've committed in our life, and which is very important to become cleansed through this process. And then it's prophylactic. It prevents us from committing sins going into the future. So these are two fundamental benefits from this taking a prasadam. And not only should we eat for our own satisfaction, but after offering the food to Krishna, the proper way, as Yaśodā explained, that Prabhupada wanted us to do, then by all means, make your house a prasadam distribution center. Make your own house a place where people can come and take prasadam. We may not be able to organize big festivals and programs to distribute prasadam prolifically, but you can at least do it at your own house. And it is a system that works. And even here in the Hamilton ashram, we distribute over 3,000 plates of prasadam a year from our little kitchen, just by inviting people over to come and have prasadam, have their spiritual food, and they don't even know the benefit of it. It's just somehow or other they're intuitive in their appreciation of prasadam. I have one friend who's a personality in the Hollywood scene. And he lives here in Brampton, Ontario. And the other day he called me up. He says, I've got to come over to get some spiritual food. I've got to come over. Like he's coming over twice a week now to get dal and rice and some sabji. It's enlivening to hear that. And it's a small thing, I must say. I realize that. And I'm embarrassed by my inadequacies and be able to spread this mission at a higher level. But nonetheless, something is better than nothing. Something is always better than nothing. And when people do nothing, what do you get from zero? Zero. When you do nothing, you get nothing. So everyone on this call, please understand that prasadam distribution is the gateway to a person's soul. It's very easy. And even the beauty of prasadam, Prabhus, is that even unconsciously people make benefit. They're not aware of the benefit, but the benefit is there in the distribution of prasadam. We are preachers of Krishna consciousness. We're not bhajananandis. We're propagators of the Sankirtan mission. And this was what Prabhupada wanted us to do. I know that. And as a result, you know, it's very important to follow these principles as Yaśodā-nandana explained. And just before I turn these readings and session back to Yaśoda, I wanted to mention about Maha Prasadam. Now, what is Maha Prasadam? Vinkat Bhatta, what is Maha Prasadam?
I think the remains of prasadam tasted by a spiritual master.
Exactly. Thank you. Very smart. Vinkat Bhatta. Very smart. And having new people join us and be part of this and understand this, like Bhaktivedanta Singh and Vinkat Bhatta and all the new people, is very inspiring for all of us old men, let's say. So, you know, in India, everybody the GBC used to take all of the Mahaprasadam from Prabhupada. That was what they used to do. So the regular plebeians like us couldn't get it. We were just the regular devotee. So my friend Uttama Shloka, we joined in Hamilton. Actually, 18 people joined from here and became Prabhupada disciples. Back in the 70s, they shut the temple down against the rules. But nonetheless, we were in India, and he came up with a scheme that he would go to the kitchen after the Prabhupada had his prasadam, his meal, and he would tell the cook that the prasadam, he was picking up the prasadam for the GBC. So he asked me, he said, you stand remember Yaśoda, there was that main staircase that went up the center of the building? Like, it was that one building, that's all we had. We all lived on the wall, on those cement floors that you helped construct there. That's all it was, with just the cement rooms. But anyway, we would get into the big building, and what happened was, he said, now you stand at the staircase there and watch out to make sure that the GBC didn't show up and take the prasadam, and signal me to make sure they weren't coming down the stairs. And then he ran up to the kitchen and said, oh, I'm here to pick up the prasadam for the GBC. So the cook got all the prasadam together on a big platter. And then Uttama Shloka took it, and he came, and then we took it and ran down the stairs and out of the building and into the middle of the field and hid in a bush. And another Prabhu came with us, and we took the whole prasadam plate and ate it all. All the Prabhupada would have that pulp from the sugar cane. He'd chew that. So we chewed it, and we ate everything on the plate, all the remnants. And it caused a huge uproar at the Mayapur festival. And they found out it was us, and they were super mad that we stole the prasadam from Srila Prabhupada. And Uttama just went and go, too bad, I'm not a GBC and I don't do what you say. He was quite belligerent. So Maha prasadam. Not only from the pure devotee, actually, Vinkad Bhatta, you can take the prasadam. If someone takes your prasadam, then that's also maha. It's called orts, the remnants from the pure devotee. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
Read a few paragraphs from a lecture from Srila Prabhupada on this same verse in New York, USA, on December 16, 1966. December 16, 1966. Prabhupada, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyuparitam asnami prayatatmanaha. Now the Lord Krishna says that anyone who offers me in devotion these four things, patram, pushpam, phalam toyam, a bit of leaf and a bit of flower, a little fruit and a little water, so he is pleased to accept. Why? Because we're offering him with devotion and love. That is the only way. Just like if you offer me varieties of foodstuffs and very palatable dishes, but if I'm not hungry, then all these palatable dishes and varieties of foodstuff is useless. I cannot accept anything. Similarly, if you offer anything to the Supreme Lord, he is full. He does not require your offering. He is always being served by hundreds and thousands of goddess of fortune. Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrahma Sevyamanam. We are in the material world. We are seeking the favor of goddess of fortune. But in the spiritual world, the hundreds and thousands of goddess of fortunes, they're eagerly trying to serve the Supreme Lord. So he is full. He has nothing to accept from you, but he likes that you should offer him something. Just like a rich father, he does not like any help from the son. But if the son, after he's grown up, he's earning, and if he offers something to the father, he becomes very happy. This is natural. So our connection with the Supreme Father is like that. He's not in want. He does not require anything from me, but it is for my interest. If I offer something, then I become a very pet son of my father. This is called bhakti. This is devotional service or Krishna consciousness. And why should we not offer? Then we are in gratitude. Suppose the Father is supplying everything, and if I do not offer anything to my Father, is it very good business? No. So here, the ultimate, even the poorest of the poorest, he can offer these four things. Otherwise, if you've got means, you should prepare very nice foodstuff for the Lord. At Vrindavan in India, there are temples still. They are spending thousands and thousands of rupees for palatable foodstuff offering to the deity. And those foodstuffs are distributed to devotees. Not only devotees, even non-devotees come and take, because by eating, one shall be devotee. Nobody shall eat. If I ask somebody, please come and hear Bhagavad-gītā, he may not agree. But if I offer some palatable dishes, foodstuff, Krishna prasada, everyone will accept. Everyone will accept. So that is one of the process of devotional service, that we should offer very sumptuously to the Lord, and the prasad should be distributed. The Lord is not taking away to his abode, to his kingdom. It is for you. But if you eat and you distribute that sort of prasad to the public, You are doing great service, and the public is getting spiritual consciousness, God consciousness. Just establish, just propagate this everywhere, in the hospital, in the charitable societies, in industrial places, everywhere. Distribute this prasad and chant this Hare Krishna. Just see what is the result. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Amazing. Fabulous, fabulous insights here in the process of Sankirtan, the distribution of Krishna consciousness to others. We have Jonas Priya in Hawaii. I know it's early for him there, and I hope his microphone is working. Maybe you could share some insights from yourself, Jonas Priya.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Son of the Bodies, all glories to Prasadam. Yes, Prasadam is very simple. Krishna says, like Yasoda just mentioned, Patram Puspan, Krishna says, offer me food. This is God. He's saying, this is what you need to do. So we're following that instruction, and Srila Prabhupada says, yes, we have to offer our food to Krishna. And we understand that once the food is offered, actually Krishna, being who he is, Krishna could eat with any part of his body. He doesn't need to eat through his mouth. So when the offering is done with the proper mantras and by a proper brahmana doing the offering, and also the cooking is very important. The preparation of the food is very important. And Prabhupada said that Radharani is the queen of the kitchen. Now Radharani, she's the most expert, and she used to cook for Krishna every morning, every single morning. And she will cook, and then the cowherd boys will come in and sit down to take prasadam, and she will look to some crack or some hole somewhere from the kitchen and wait anxiously to see Krishna's face when he took the first mouthful of her, whatever she cooked, and then Krishna will smile, and then that was the perfection of her life. She did this every day, and this is going on eternally. So this prasadam, it's Prabhupada said that prasadam is actually our most powerful weapon. Why? Because people don't need to understand, they don't need to figure anything out. If we become expert in offering these foodstuffs to people so they want to eagerly take it, then that's the perfection of our life. If we give Krishna Prasadam one time in our life to one person, our life has become perfect. What to say if we do it constantly or whenever we can? And my father was a pretty kind of like newborn Christian, but he loved prasadam. At the temple, they used to save all the sweets, put them in little boxes, milk sweets, very nice sweets. And I used to take him a box of sweets, and he loved those sweets so much. And one time I showed up without the sweets and says, "Where's my maha?" So anybody will become attached to prasadam. And Prabhupada says there's no public event that is complete unless there's prasadam. So whenever we go out on chanting, we go on Harinam, take little bags of popcorn or whatever, candy, anything. You know, it could be very practical. Prasadam doesn't mean you have to cook a 12-course feast. No, it could be one simple, even water. We used to when we did travel in Sankirtan, when we come to a field or an orchard of fruit, we'll stop the car, get out of the car and do an offering a whole field of wheat or a whole orchard of oranges, whatever. Pick one orange and you offer it to Krishna. Then the whole orchard is prasadam. So it's the consciousness that we have towards prasadam. And I was lucky enough that I was on the same flight as Prabhupada in India. And we were sitting behind Prabhupada, and he saw us, me and this other devotee. The time came for Prabhupada to eat his prasadam, and he took one bite, maybe. And he said, give this plate to those nice boys in the back. So we got Prabhupada's plate. Now, you're not supposed to eat out of your guru's plate. But Guru is saying, eat this. So what can we do? So we ate. There was not, the plate was as clean as somebody washed it. There was nothing left in, and this was a big plate. So maybe that's I'm such a rascal and a demon, but by some supreme Prabhupada's mercy, we were able to take that prasadam straight from Prabhupada's plate. So I ran Food for Life for many, many years, and I've seen the change on people throughout, like in a year, even in 6 months. If you start giving prasadam to some homeless person, almost at the bottom of the human life, almost an animal, and you see in a month, 2 months, 6 months, this person has come out of that almost animal to almost human. And that's the power of prasadam. And the most important thing, if you give prasadam even to humans or animals, if you feed anybody prasadam, the animals will take a human birth. And that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. That's the biggest preaching. Why? Because they're going to take a human birth and they're going to have a chance to eat prasadam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I wanted to mention before we read a few passages in our chat that have been posted by our members, that in the last year here in the Hamilton ashram, we've had 3 people pass away. 3. And it's quite, revealing in a way to see this birth and death taking place in front of our very eyes. People that come one day and the next day you get a notice they're no longer here. And I thought, well, as you were mentioning, Jonas Priya, the people that get prasadam, they're blessed with the human form. And I can say that we were helpful in giving them prasadam, because all of them would come on a regular basis over a period of a year. One of them was a cancer patient. He was living here for 2 months, so he had prasadam every day. And so doing this is a great blessing for them and for you as a person, because if Krishna sees that you're trying to help others make advancement, then he'll bless you. That's what Krishna, that's how you please Krishna, by giving Krishna to others in the form of Krishna prasadam. Vinkata, I see that you've put up a quote here. Maybe it's a letter to the ISKCON temple presidents. Maybe you could read that out for us.
Okay, sure. I have that letter here. I can just share it.
Please.
So it's on January 18, 1977, to all temple presidents. Please accept my blessings. Now you must arrange in each temple, there must be sufficient stock of prasadam for distribution. You can keep first-class cooks, 2 or 3, and they should be always engaged. Whenever any guest comes, he must get prasad. This arrangement must be made that the cooks prepare 10, 20 servings at a time of puris and sabji, and you can add halwa and pakoras. And the visitors must be supplied immediately. Whenever a gentleman comes, he must be served. As the 20 servings are being distributed, immediately the cooks prepare another 20 servings and store it. At the end of the day, if no one comes, our own men will take, so there's no loss. You cannot say it is finished or it's not cooked yet, there's no supply for cooking, etc. This must be enforced rigidly. The temple is managed by Srimati Radharani, Lakshmi ji. So why should there be any want? Why should there be want? Our philosophy is, if anyone comes, let him take prasad, chant Hare Krishna, and be happy. Everything is being supplied by Krishna. Krishna is not poor, so why we should deny them? This should be done at any cost. There is no difficulty. It simply requires nice management. At the end of the day, you may sell or give away. If we believe that Krishna is providing and maintaining everyone, then why should we be misers? This means losing faith in Krishna and thinking that we are the doers and suppliers. We are confident Krishna will supply. Let the whole world come, we can feed them. So please do this nicely. Begin at once. Hoping this meets you all in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, fabulous. Thank you, Prabhu. That's totally inspiring. And in the future, we'll discuss these topics in detail. We did open a few restaurants in Toronto during Prabhupada's presence, and he did send some interesting letters to me in regards to the name and different rules that we should follow in operating prasadam restaurants, and maybe mobile prasadam event wagons. That's a goal that we have here, is to have a setup where the wagons or the trucks go out and there's chanting, nice chanting, and there's a book display and the beautiful prasadam for the public to experience and benefit from. So that's an aspiration that we have at the Prabhupada Disciples Association. Mission is to develop these prasadam distribution wagons. And I want to thank everyone for being a part of today's readings and discussions. There's very ecstatic information delivered to all of us. And I wanted, before we end, I'd like Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu to show everyone the Vyas Puja book that we will be making available to purchase on Amazon. Vinkat Bhatta, maybe you could show the publication again. As you can see, it's a very valuable book for you to have in your library, and it contains all kinds of wonderful verses. Look at these offerings and all the articles like that. So very valuable literature for you to have and to bring you up to date with the proper way to see the relationship between disciple and guru tattva, a fundamental basis of Krishna consciousness, which in some cases has been completely lost. And in this case, we're reviving the legacy with the work of the Prabhupada Disciples Association. So that'll be Vinkat Bhatta. That will be available within the next few weeks. Is it? Just clarify if you could for everyone.
Yeah, within maybe 2 weeks, it'll be available on Amazon. Okay,
so we'll keep you posted, everyone. And also, we're planning to print some with Bhaktivedanta Singh in Sacramento. And so they will be available. If you don't use Amazon, then there'll be other ways to get copies of these books and have them for yourself and distribute them to the local networks that you're dealing with in your preaching work to cultivate new devotees. That's our job, to bring new people to Krishna consciousness. So all glories to the Sankirtan movement. Thank you again. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's have the original 1966 Kirtan from Srila Prabhupada to end today's program. Hari Bol.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Apakirta, Hare Krishna, comment ça va?
Hare Krishna, Hare
Ça
Krishna.
va bien?
Ça va bien, ça va bien. Et toi?
Ça va très bien, ça va très bien. Vijay Pandit Prabhu,